Homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Torchi. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice tonight, the greatly merciful and compassionate Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Sumo, Tanzen Katso, Tuten Siddhi, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dharma assistants, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, how do you do? Aisteru Sarange.
Hola, amigo, te quiero mucho.
Hola, amigo, te quiero mucho.
Sugoin.
Sugoin.
Ichiban.
Ichiban.
Kimochi.
Kimochi.
Yumi.
Yumi.
Yapi.
Yapi.
Purin purin. Konbanwa.
Konbanwa. Today we practiced Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva Deity Yoga. Of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like the 8 great Bodhisattvas, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is first and foremost, her power of compassion is the greatest. So in the past, for the bhikshus, the monks, when they see each other, they would say Namo Amitabha. Or for the bhikshunis or nuns, when they see each other, they would say Namo Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva has reached, when you reach the Bodhisattvahood, there is no differentiation between male or female. So therefore, he or she has 32 Avalokitesvara Bodhisattvas, or her emanations are innumerable. And there's also the heavenly being Master Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, and there are many other names. Some appear in female forms, some in male forms. When appearing in female form, it signifies compassion. It signifies compassion. I remember when I just gained spiritual response with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I I went to my neighbor across the street. At that time, I lived in Taichung, Li Xing Road, number 39.
就是台中啊，台中
which means in Taichung, Li Xing Road, number 39.
我家对面有一个
Across the street,
有满结社，
there was Auntie
家
Vanketso,
奉尊观音，
who enshrined Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara at her home. And she invited me to come to chant this sutra.
念哪一个经？
So I went and chanted
回
the
家以后
sutra.
啊，那个观世音菩萨
And
就来到
after I got home, the Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva followed me home.
哇，我很高兴，
I was very happy
这个观世音菩萨
that the Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva followed me
那
home.
种感应，
So I had gained spiritual responses. So
万极少就到我家来，
because I was in spiritual union already. So the auntie visited my home. So I was very happy and told her
显现怒了，
that, hey, your Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva came to my home. And she got really angry and shouted,
表现得很
how
愤
could
怒
my Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva
是
go to
在
your
我家
home?
镇守我家的，怎么可以跑到你家来？
She's taking care of my home.
他这一讲
How come she goes to your house?
还没有了，
Before she finished
他马
talking,
上起机呀、
immediately
马上观世音菩萨附他的身，打自己的嘴巴哦，
the Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva attached to her body and she slapped her own mouth very
啊啪
strongly
啪啪啪，打的这个整个脸都肿起来。
until her face got swollen.
然后他醒过来以后，他知道错了，
When she
因为
recovered,
观
she realized she was wrong.
广大慈悲是
See, because Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is widely compassionate. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva belongs to all Buddhist disciples, not just belonging to your house or my house. So I got a lesson then.
什么教训？
What kind of lesson? Very simple.
慈悲啊是无量的，
That compassion is infinite,
不止在一个人的身上，
not just on one
一
person
群人的身
or
上，
a group of
一
people
个国家的身上。
or a country.
3000大千世界，
The 3,000 great
所有一
worlds,
切的六道众生，
all the sentient beings of the six rebirth
全
realms,
部是观世音菩萨
all the heavenly realms are the objects of compassion of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva.
所以
All of
这个
those.
其实讲起来就是平等式，
So
平等
this is actually the
平等式
equanimity.
没有一个例外的，
So you treat
这种
all
心啊
sentient beings equally.
无量性。
No exception. Only this kind of mindset
所以
is
看
called
到
the
这个
boundless
佛陀的
mind.
里面，他的教法
So,
有讲
according to the Buddha's teaching,
狭小的心
a small mind,
是
a
不能
narrow mind,
成为大圣的，
cannot be considered the great
是
vehicle
没有
or
资格
Mahayana.
成为大圣。
They are not qualified
狭小的
to
心
be a Mahayana
是入
Buddhist.
不了天堂的。
They will not be able to enter into the heavenly realms.
自私的心呢、
The
就是恶
egotistical mind
广大无量的心是善。
is bad, and boundless mind is good.
所以我们学佛呢，重点在这里。
So
要学
in
广大无量的
being a Buddhist, we have to learn to have a boundless, expansive mind and not a small, narrow mind. Because a small, narrow, egotistical mind is evil, is bad.
所以
So that's what we practice Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. So in delivering sentient beings, we have to equally
大无量的慈悲
equanimous.
是观世音菩萨。
And Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva is boundlessly compassionate.
都是罪。
But anything with narrow, small mind or egotistical mind, those are all sin or bad.
那在说法开始以前呢，用一个笑话做引子。
And before the Dharma teaching, I would like to start with a
就
joke.
是半夜
In the middle of the
有一个
night,
醉汉，踉踉跄跄的锁在街道上，
there's a drunkard that's wobbly
在暗巷
Wobbly
里面突然
walking
走出一个
in the alley.
目露凶光的大汉，抓
And
住
then
醉汉的手脚，
Coming, there was a
你要钱还是
a strong,
这个醉汉
rough man and said, "Do you want money or life?" And the drunkard replied, "I want a drink." 这个笑话有什么含义呢？ What's the meaning of this joke?
有它的意义吗？没有的话，我再讲第二个。
No meaning? Okay, let me tell another joke. 哎呀，这个又有一点黄色。 This is kind of blue, but it's okay.
两个不熟的男人在酒吧喝酒，
There are two men
坐得很
who are strangers to each other
靠近，
drinking at the bar.
这个时候啊，
They
有
sat
个妞
close, not so
进
close
来跟
together,
A 君打招呼，
and then there's a girl
这
coming
个 B
in
君就问
and said hi to the man A,
熟，
and then the
我们
second man asked, "Are you familiar to each other?" And he
如
replied,
果
"Oh yeah,
我
we know
捧
each
他
other.
的场，
We give business to each other.
他
You
捧
know,
我的场，
the way I give business to her is drinking and talking, but the way she gives business to me, she would lie down."
B 君，难道你是
Are you?
牛郎？难道你是牛郎？
Are you?
哦，牛郎的意思，大家知道。
Oh,
A 君回答：
the like the cowherd?
我是姓牛，
And he said, "Yes,
是呢，
my family name is Cow, and I'm a dentist."
这样弄明白了。
So now you understand.
所以凡事啊，
So
弄清楚，
you have to
不然就
be clear about mundane things, otherwise there's misunderstanding.
才能够完全了解。没有清楚以前，
Before you
随便乱讲。
make it clear, you should not say anything.
所以以后大家来问事，要写清楚。写
So
清
in
楚
the future, When you come for spiritual consultation, you should write it clearly.
现在进入你问我
Now we will do question and answer.
印尼丝联仪丝联仪
From Indonesia,
它是
四联仪 should be reference.
丝联仪顶礼师尊
Homage to Grandmaster.
如果有一位生活中的同门之前
I have a question. If there is a Tribhuda school fellow disciple who likes to do wealth rituals, and have accepted various things from a psychic fellow disciple such as fu or talisman, dharma implements, statues, practice procedures, etc. Now he regrets doing so. My questions are,
我就觉得这个问题你感觉到怎么样？
so how do you feel about this
是
question?
想问
I would like to ask if there is a Tribhuda school fellow disciple who used to like to do wealth ritual
从其他通灵同门曾经收到各种东西，如符
and have accepted from a psychic fellow disciple various things such as fu, dharma implements, statues, practice procedures, etc. Now he regrets doing so. My questions are, is there a way or ritual to discard those things we don't want anymore?
不要留的东西。二，一般的
Two,
同门可以画符给其
can
他
an ordinary
需要
disciple
的同门吗？
draw talisman for another fellow disciple?
第一个
Okay.
问题，我不知道你在问什么。
I can answer question number 2, but I
你知道
don't
他在
know
问什么？
about question number 1. Do you know what he's asking?
有谁知道？
Anyone?
丝联仪，丝联仪谁认识？
Does anyone know this person, Si Lian Yi?
是一个木，一个台，印尼，一个木，木就是眼睛的意
The
思，
writing
然后旁边有一个台，
with an I and I.
台湾的台。新出家的法师，但是他问的这个问题我真的看不懂。
A newly ordained monk or nun. I don't know what he's asking though.
有一位生活中同门之前喜欢做招财仪式，
If there is a Tribhuda school fellow disciple who used to like to do wealth rituals, do we have a wealth rituals?
我们有招财仪式吗？
Do we have wealth rituals? Rituals to get money.
我不知道有什么招财仪式哎，我只知道
I
有
don't know
财神
any.
法。
I know but wealth deity practice.
当然，你说五鬼搬运那一种，当然是以前道家是有五鬼搬运的方法，但是现在
There are some Taoist
现在有
practices
对这种东西
But anyone doing that
然
nowadays
后从其他通灵同门
and have accepted from other
曾经收到的
psychic
各种
fellow
东西
disciples
他又从
all
其他的
kinds of
通灵同
things.
门收到各种东西，我觉得很奇怪，
That's strange.
这个看不懂，所以
I don't
不
understand.
回答。
So I will not answer.
哦，第一个问题我不回答，我刚刚讲了嘛，你没有讲清楚，我怎么回
I
答？
said it earlier, right? If you don't say it
讲
clearly,
话就是这个样子，
how can I
那个
answer?
笑话就是讲，
That's
你根
about
本
the first joke,
还没有
right?
我都搞不清楚你在问什么。
I don't know what you're asking.
这文字有点奇怪啊。
That's a weird
我
writing.
回答第二个问题。
But let me answer question number 2. Can an ordinary disciple draw talisman or fu for another fellow disciple? How would you answer that?
一般的同门可以画符给其他的同门吗？
Can just a regular disciple draw talisman for another disciple?
你们有画符灌顶的举手。
If you have received
大部分
empowerments to draw talisman, please raise your hands. Most of you have
你
received
们有没有画符
the
给其他
empowerment.
的同门？
Did you
画
ever
符给其
draw
他的同门
talisman for other fellow disciples? If you do, please raise your hand.
那么这条问题就，一般的同门可以画符给其他的同门吗？那当然。
So can a regular disciple draw a talisman for another fellow disciple? Master Lian Wang said he does.
他一定答可以。
So he would answer, sure.
那有人认为不可以吗？
Anybody
认为不可以的，
thinks that it should not be allowed, please raise your hand.
哪位？好，他拿麦克风来讲，你的理由是什么？
Let's give a microphone.
因为一般的同门不可以画符给同门的，他没有修正画符的。
A regular disciple should not draw talisman for another.
没有什么。
Cannot hear.
好啦，有两个意见，好。
So two differing
我们了
opinions.
解像议会一样嘛，对不对？大家可以举手表决。认为
So we should vote. Let's.
这个同门不可以画符给其他同门。
If you don't think a disciple can draw talisman for another disciple,
可以画符给其他
please
同
raise your
门
hand. If you think it's allowed, please raise your hand.
我不举手，我两个我都不举手，我只看。
I don't vote. I just want to check.
有的赞成。
Some people approve.
第二个
Second,
同门不可以画符给其他同门的。
that it should not be allowed for a fellow disciple to draw talisman for another fellow. So it looks like it should be allowed.
刚刚不可以的比较多吗？那连忘了
Disallowed should be more. There were more people saying this aloud.
还是我讲错了
But Lian Wang said it's okay. So did I
？OK，
mix it up?
我认为是这样子的，
Okay, in my
也
opinion,
可以也不可以。
you can and also cannot.
当你的仪轨完全遵照、非
If
常周全
your
的时候，
procedure or the ritual is very complete
在紧急的时候，
for
你说画止血
emergency,
符这个人已经在流血，
like the fu or
画
talisman to
止血
stop
符一定要
bleeding.
止血
Someone is bleeding and you need a fu to
你
stop the
不可能
bleeding.
写信来求符，
It would be impossible for you to write a letter
很紧急的时候
asking for
画
it, and you know how to draw the fu
很虔诚地做
if you
祈祷
earnestly
很
pray
虔诚
and
地
follow the ritual procedure,
自己的本尊做祈祷，
and you pray to your own
向根本
yidam
上师做祈祷，
or to your root guru,
然后下笔的时候要有神，
and
只
when
要
you
你的符
start
有
to
本
move
尊
your
来
pen, there should be a spirit.
这个符就有效。
So as long as the root guru radiate light or the yidam or the protector radiate light, then it would be effective. Then you can immediately help someone.
可以。
So at this kind of
什么叫不可以？
condition, it would be allowed.
你画了一叠符，
But
分送给大家，
it's
大家
if you draw a stack of fu and give it to everybody
可以。
for
根
safety,
本上来不可以有这种
that should not be allowed.
因为画符
This
者
kind of thing should not be
求符
allowed
者
because
神明
the person who draw the talisman
三者是三角形，
and the person receiving
要
the
有求
talisman
符者
and the
求你画符
deity,
者
root guru or
要有
yidam
画符者
is a
求
triangle.
符者必须要显现他的虔诚的心，
So the person asking for the fu should
要有
have the sincerity or earnestness, and the person drawing the fu should have the power
本尊
and the proper
跟你相应的
procedure, and the
这个时
yidam
候所画出来的符是
should be in spiritual union
是
with
由
you.
本尊上师来发
Then
光
the fu would be
精
effective.
神力够，
So if shines, the light has been radiated by the root guru or yidam, then you,
问题就在这里。我讲，
so that's why
让大家清楚明白吗？
it's allowed and not allowed. So there are two different conditions there.
所以同门如果他本身跟本尊相应，
So if the
跟上师相
disciple
应
is in spiritual union with the yidam, with root guru, or with the
有
gods that have passed,
由上师来发光，
is
由本尊来发
and
光
the fu is
发光
has the light radiated by root guru or yidam,
是可以的，不是同
and
门
the
也
person asking for the fu is earnest, then it is
重
allowed.
点就是在这里。
That's the key
你
point.
如果有画符灌顶，
If you have received
但是你
the
画
empowerment for drawing the fu,
觉得没有信心，
but if you have no confidence in your own fus, that it is useless.
所以很重要的一点就是说，
So that's a very important key point.
那么仪轨一定要做
It has to be, it has to have the light shone on it, and the ritual procedure has to be complete. You have to invoke, make offering, and invoking which deity,
然后再
and then you draw the fu, and you still have to ask the deity to bless the fu,
这个是
and then you can give the fu. That's the point. That was questioned by 4连一。
香港
Next, asked by Hong Kong, Lianhua Wei-Ling.
尊贵的师尊，请问我们怎么知道
Precious Grandmaster,
供的土地是土地
when we enshrine an earth god at home, how do we know if that is the righteous god of fortune and virtue or the house dwellers? So when we register for ceremonies or homas, do we write earth god, earth goddess, or house dwellers?
你要填写法会或附魔木的报名，
So
填写
when you
的
register
正神或者地基主
for ceremonies or
或者
homas,
是公公伯伯
do you write
土地伯
the
吧
righteous god of fortune and
土
virtue,
地伯吧
or earth
我
god,
们只
earth
知道家
goddess,
里公公
or house
土
dwellers?
地是土地福德正神或地基主，地基主是地基主，
So house dwellers are house dwellers. The righteous god of fortune and virtue is the righteous god of fortune and virtue. That's the earth god.
本身的
House dwellers are
里面的阴人，阴人
the
这个
spirits
地
or the ghosts
不是
inside the house. They are not
地
gods.
基主应该
House
在
dwellers,
我的观念里面啊，地基主
in my view,
单位的公公地基主
in Taiwanese,
就是保
地基主，
保护这个家里家宅，
they are protecting their house.
也是一样是保护
But the earth god of the house is also protecting the
但
house.
土地公呢
However,
是一种神，
the earth god is a kind of god which is called the righteous god of fortune and virtue.
你就写土地公。
So if you want to register your earth god, then you just write earth god.
你不用问，
You
因为
shouldn't
很少人能够知道
be concerned
你家里的那个牌是土地公的牌还是
that
地基主的
the
牌。
spirit
你写
plate
土地公的牌
that
就是
you
土地
write
公
what you wrote. If you write it earth god, then it is earth god. If you write house dwellers, then it is house dwellers.
啊，你要法会或附魔木的报名，你到底要报
So-
名土地公呢？
Well, it's up to you what you want to register. Is it the earth god or the house
你要报名
dwellers?
地基主，你就写地基主。
If you want to register the house dwellers, then you just write the house dwellers.
到底是要报名给谁？啊，福德正神跟地基主是不一样的。
And house dwellers are different from the earth god or the righteous god of fortune and virtue.
你安的是土地公，你就是土地
And
公。
you want to know what you have at your home? Well, it depends on whom you enshrine. If you enshrine the earth god, then it's earth god. If you enshrine the house dwellers, then it's the house dwellers.
不用知道，因为除非
And
你
you don't have to worry about it
你看到
unless you
阴
see,
阳眼
unless you have a psychic eye
阴阳眼
or that's the lowest kind of
学佛人有五眼六通，
psychic seeing, supernatural seeing.
眼睛五种眼睛，
So that's
最高的
we have
智慧
the transcendent powers. There are like 5 kinds of seeings or vision. And the lowest one is to see the spirits. The highest one is the wisdom eye.
阴阳眼，你就会看到
And or if you have the divine eye, you would be able to see
或者是地基主。
your righteous god of
那个时
fortune
候你要，
and virtue or the house dwellers.
但是你
And
不一定
then
要知道
you register whomever you
你
want.
要报名给福德正神，你在护摩木就写福德正
If you want to register your righteous god of fortune and virtue, then you just write that. If you want to register the house dwellers, then you just write the house dwellers. Very simple.
你不知道啊，你看不到啊。
And if you cannot see, you don't know who's protecting your house, and it's okay. You don't need to know.
彩虹山庄的土地公啊，他已经
And I know the earth god at the Rainbow Villa has changed. The old one has gone back to Taiwan, and the new one just came from Taiwan. And they asked me that this new earth god from Taiwan can speak which languages? English and Taiwanese and Mandarin Chinese. So he has to adapt to this place, so he speaks English too. So very simple. If we invite someone that don't understand, someone that doesn't understand English to become the rep of Taiwan, then if you're foreign affairs officers, then you have to speak the language of the location. So the earth god at the Rainbow Temple understands English, Mandarin Chinese, and Taiwanese, and he can even understand Cantonese, because we have lots of Cantonese here. So he should be able to understand Cantonese too, and also Hakkanese. DMD. Is that Cantonese? What language was that? Hakkanese, right? See? Grandmaster knows that too. Next question from Indonesia, Lampung Lechang Temple, Huang Mi Fang. Grandmaster, how do you do? I would like to ask, 1. Grandmaster, you said that smoke offering is to offer to all the obstructing gods and ghosts, and as well as our karmic creditors. Can we practice it for our family? For example, for the karmic creditors of my husband or son? It would be sure you can practice for the karmic creditors of the whole family. So when you do smoke offering, you can also give it to the karmic creditors of your husband or your daughter or your son's karmic creditors, or your parents if they live in the house, in the same household. All the karmic creditors of the same household is okay. So offer to all the obstructing gods and ghosts as well as karmic creditors. So you can offer it to the karmic creditors of the whole family and parents, and you have to make the merit dedication appropriately. The second question, if that is allowed, how do we practice it? One by one or all together? Thank you, Grandmaster. Thank you, Grandmaster. You do it one by one. You have 5 people in your household. You need 5 smoke offering incense burners. But let me tell you, you can just do it all together. Like this incense burners is mine, and this is for the husband, This is for the daughter, for the son.
这个是 father mother 的路，
For the father, no need.
一起
Or
修就可以
mother,
了。
you can do it all
这问
together.
得很复杂，
That's a complicated question.
所以很多问题
So therefore,
越问就越多。
the more we ask questions, the more questions there are.
师尊，我要去拜坟，到坟场
Someone asked me, I want to go to the cemetery,
华人就不太一样。
to visit the cemetery.
这
And
外国人
for Westerners, they would bring flowers
放在
and they would place the flowers
就
at the tombstones, at the tombs.
他就会
For Chinese,
煮一些汤圆呐、
they would bring
煮一
food,
些他喜欢的
sweet dumplings of food that they used to love to
到
eat,
坟场去供养他。
and brought the food to the cemetery to offer to them.
他会从坟墓里面
And the Westerners would say, so they would eat them
那么多摆在
from the
那个
tomb?
那个坟场，
They put so many foods, so
那么
much,
华人
so many
会笑
dishes.
这个洋人，他会
And
从
the
这个坟墓里
Chinese
面出来欣赏你
would laugh at the Westerners. Well, will the deceased come out from their tombs and enjoy your flowers? Actually, they're all the same.
一点心意。
It's just what's from your
问
heart.
事情的人就问了，那么
But that person
喜欢
asked,
讲这拜坟啊，我妈妈的习惯，
if you
都要做汤圆，
visit
他就问
the ancestors, like according to my mom's tradition,
要放
she would make sweet dumplings. So he asked again, how many bowls?
几碗才好，单数好了。
And I said,
3
well,
碗
odd
我们一般来
numbers.
讲点香炉
So 1 or 3, like, typically we would lit 3 sticks of incense. So how about 3 bowls?
汤圆还是
And he kept
红色
asking, white or red
我一
dumplings?
想
And I
红色
thought,
是喜事嘛
red is for
既然
joy.
拜坟就用白
And
色
because it's for the deceased, let's just use the white
他
ones.
的问题又来了，
And he asked again,
白色的汤圆要做多大？
how big the dumplings should be.
要1 can 还是3 can？ 还是很多小汤圆？我说
And
妈妈
tiny little
做的
dumplings
大
or
部分
big
都是
ones.
小汤圆
And I said, my mom used to make tiny white dumplings. And he asked again,
粒
how many
一杯
dumplings?
算几粒？这个我就不知道了。
I don't know.
我妈妈从来没有说数那个汤圆
Because
要
my
放
mom never counted how many little dumplings should be in the
问得
bowl.
太细了
So you think too much in too great
就是有这种
details.
想所以问事
But
的
this kind of thing
要
happens.
稍微考虑一下，你是不是
So
问得太细
people who are asking questions should
也不能说
reconsider
问，也不
that
能
are
说
you
要刚刚好，就是中观。
going down the rabbit hole? But you should not be too careless either. You should just
我们
choose the middle way, just right. As Buddhists, we need to understand this concept of middle
不要
way.
太
For lots of
也
things,
不要太细，
should not be too rough or too fine, should be just right.
现在跟大家讲道果。
Now we would like to talk about Lamdre.
用一则笑话做引子。
Let me start with the joke.
在古代啊，秀才不出门，能知天下事。
In the ancient time, the scholars
现代
don't need to
你
get
能
out
不出
from
门
the house, and they know everything under the heaven. And nowadays, women don't have to leave the house to know everything under the to buy everything under the heaven or the earth.
由此表因内日言之起相异，心气相异，见气情气世间之显现。
If the mind chi is evenly accumulating at the left ma, ti, cha, etc. characters, it will generate all sorts of mammals, poisonous snakes, wild beasts, ugly evils, Buddhas, Bihu, etc. One will understand more during the path of bending, sufferings, and faults. Through the different starts of affinity of the superficial causal inner characters and the different gathering of the mind chi, the scenes of the phenomena of the material world abides in the mundane world. For example, angry face appears as angry face in the mirror. This complies with the following text of the verse. Like the pure divine eye, thoughts create the spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak. Like when we are angry, we look at ourselves in the mirror, and the face in the mirror is also angry. When you're happy, then the face inside the mirror is also happy. It's in the same samadhi or meditation, there are different appearances. In meditation, depends what the realm of your mind and your chi would give rise to different phenomena or appearances. Let me tell you.
4 small girls.
We have 4 small girls from California. I call the 4 great ladies from California the California 4 small girls. One is Linda Chung, Ruby Sun, Amy Jiang, and Teresa Wei. So the 4 great ladies from California. Linda Chung made a phone call this morning to Simu. She said that she had a dream last night. She dreamt of her husband who had passed away, came back standing in front of her. And one hand is holding a name card, the other hand holding a check, and told Linda, "These are to thank Grandmaster Lu. He has guided me to the pure Buddha land." He has guided me to be reborn in the Pure Land. So that's a kind of realm. He told Linda, one hand holding a check, the other hand holding a name card. I am this, and Grandmaster Lu has guided me to be the Pure Land, and this check is an offering to Grandmaster Lu. So Linda, Dharma Sister Linda, made a phone call to Simu, and the dream was very clear and vivid.
被接引到
the husband came back and
这
told
就是
her.
一个场景，一个场景。
So that's a kind of
下一个场景
scene, a sighting appearance.
应该是你
And
要
the
把
next
3张
one
支票寄过来。
You should send the check over.
怎么你打电话的时候
How come you made a phone call
支票要寄过来
and you didn't say that you're sending the check over?
这是心境不同，情况是不一样的。心境
So,
情况是不一样的
the frame of minds are different, so that's why in different situations.
如天眼清净。
This complies with the following text of the verse. Like the pure divine eye, thoughts create the spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak. If you have a divine eye
有天眼
in meditation,
可以看到
your eyes are divine
异
eyes
界天、
that you can see
色界
the
天、
heavenly realm of desire, heavenly realm of form, the heavenly realm of no form.
越亲近，他
Because
能够看到天界。
The more pure the divine eye is,
这个时候呢，
the more
就是
higher or the better you
流
can
体
see.
以下的禅定之觉受。
The spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak. What is below the peak?
但是不能看到色界天。
That you can see the heavenly realm of desire,
只
but
到
not the heavenly realm of form. So your peak is only the heavenly realm of
色
desire.
界天，或者你的顶，
Or your peak is the heavenly realm of form.
就是
Or your
流
peak
顶
is the
以下的
heavenly realm
禅
of
定
no
之觉
form.
受，显示景象兼三界
So,
色法中
which refers to the appearance of the sightings or visions of various forms of the three realms,
但是
and this gives rise to the divine vision, transcendent power with leakage.
无漏的天眼通
So this is the
可以
divine
看见
vision with
有
leakage.
漏的天眼通
It's different from the divine vision without
三界
leakage.
色法种种差别，因为异界天
So the divine vision with
跟
leakage,
色界天是不一
you
样，
can see the three
色界天
various
和
forms
色界
of the
天
three
又不一样
realms. Because the realm of desire is different from the realm of form, is different from the realm of no form.
差别是不一样，
So therefore, they're all
意
different.
思就在这里。颂言
That's what it meant.
巨灵之
Next,
声
the verse in quotes, endowed with the sound of bells. The most victorious one is the central channel. If the only wind chi produced by the 9 realms gathers on it, the sound of the inner channels like bees humming will be
这一段的
produced.
意思是说，
What this meant is
中脉会发出声音，
the central channel will produce sound.
这个在里面解释是讲巨灵之声，最胜
So the
巨灵
verse is
之中
endowed with the sound of bells, and the most victorious one is that of the central channel.
唯一轰气汇集其上，则发出内脉之声。如
If the only wind chi produced by the 9 realms gathers
也
on
就是
it,
说，
on the central channel, the sound of the inner channels like bees humming.
你气集中在上面，则你
The
的
chi
中脉会有
is
声音发出来。
on it, and the central channel will produce sound like bees
会发出
humming.
出来，会发出来，你会听得到。
You will be able to hear
当
it.
你的气集中在中脉，有时候会
When your chi concentrates on the central channel, it would produce a sound.
会非最胜巨灵者，
If it is not the most victorious one,
左耳之
then it is between the left ear and the wisdom are
若
character.
心气集会于此，
And if the mind chi gathers here, then one can hear the sound of the three realms far and close, just like the pure auditory transcendent power. When you're in meditation, and your chi, the mind chi, concentrates on the ears. I have taught this before. When you're in meditation, your mind chi, which is your mind, your thoughts, if your chi is on the ears, then you would be able to hear the sound of the heavenly realms. That's the auditory transcendent power. I've said that. When in meditation, your chi concentrates on your eyes, then you would be able to see all kinds of phenomena of the three realms. If it concentrates on the ears, then you can hear the sound. So transcendent power of the vision of the auditory. So the 5 eyes and 6 transcendent powers. So in meditation, all kinds of transcendent powers can manifest. So you can hear the dialogues between gods. Sometimes you would be able to hear. The sound of 3 realms far and close, doesn't matter how far or how close. The phrase in quotes, thoughts create the spiritual experiences of the meditation below the peak, end quote, is a hint that the right eye to see and the left ear to hear. If you can, in your meditation, if you can sense the realm of desire, realm of form, realm of no form, the eye can see, the ear can hear. The spiritual experiences of the meditation. The right eye can see the forms of the heavenly, and the left ear to hear the voices of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, or the marvelous heavenly sounds. That's all for today for Lamdre. Went to the driving test and the road test the first time today. So after I got in the car, the examiner said, "Go, go." And I felt really warm and replied, "Gambatte." You know what gambatte means? That's Japanese. That means go, go, go. Gambatte. Keep it up, keep it up. And then the instructor snapped back. I'm asking you to put on gas. To put on gas. Not telling you to go, go, go. So that's a misunderstanding.
加油是加油有2个意思，叫你加油一点，干大杯。
So in Chinese, they are the same words. Gambate,
然后一种是加油，一个是真的
go, go,
加油
go. And the other one is put on gas. 这个可以讲啊。 Can I tell this one?
老婆问老公，孩子快要出生了，
The wife asked the
要起
husband,
什么名字？
the baby is about to be born. What name should I give?
就起名叫巅峰。
If it's a boy,
要起名叫巅峰，
let's
很好。
call
这
him
个意
a
思就是说，坐上了
summit.
最高的巅峰。
So that means we've reached the highest summit.
老婆就讲靠腰，
And the wife said,
巅峰你个头啊！
Oh
你
no,
忘了你自己姓杨吗？
you forgot your last name? Because Yang Tianfeng in Chinese means epilepsy.
杨巅峰。所以起名字有时候蛮难起的。
So it is quite difficult to give a
尤其是姓
name,
吴的，姓吴的
especially if the last name is Wu. In Chinese also sounds
给
no.
他取一个这个道德君子，他是很有道德的。这个就是变成
If someone is very virtuous, and then the last name is Wu, then it
好
sounds
的东西给
no
就会
virtue.
变成武了。
So anything good in the name would become
再
nothing.
给他那个，给他一个这个金钱哦财啊，我们喜欢财
Oh, we love money, right?
财，这就变成无财。
Then there would be no
才能
money.
的财也不能起，道德的德也不能起，什么都。
So it's kind of
我
hard.
经常给人家起是无又有，无，然后
So
保佑的佑，
I often
无
give
又有，
money, uyuyu.
姓吴的很难起名字。
Yeah, it's very difficult to name someone with Wu family name.
啊，现在问你们，如果这个疫情如果真的结束的时候，第
So
一件想做的事情是什么？
if the pandemic ends, what is the first thing you would like
谁
to
举
do?
手？
Please raise your hand.
拿掉口罩。
Take off the
每个人都
mask.
会做到的啊。
Everybody can do that.
没错，拿掉口罩。还有呢
That's right.
如果没有的，你想做的事情是什么？
So what would you like to do first and foremost?
旅游，
Travel.
去旅行，很好，
Good.
很好。去旅游，去观光，因为观光已经死很久了。观光已经死很久了。
Because
真的去，
travel and
我师尊也想到，
roam around, it's long gone.
我要去，
And Grandmaster wants to go.
我要去
I want to
韩
go
论的旅游，
to have a honeymoon travel.
那是最好的，对不对？又是旅游，又是韩论。
So I want to go on a honeymoon. That's my dream.
你们还有什么更好的？
Anything better?
佛菩萨，哎，你懂得感恩也不错。 很好。
Thank you to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Oh, that's good that you
还有没有特
have a
别
grateful mind.
啊？参加法会是吗？
To attend the
现在不是
ceremony.
在参加法会。
But aren't you now in the ceremony? What are you talking about?
我不想再做法会了。
I don't want to
我
conduct
真的
any
想
more
的是
ceremonies.
honeymoon
All I want is honeymoon.
honeymoon 的 tour，
A honeymoon
最
tour.
快人生最快乐的一件事情就是
That's
honeymoon
the
tour。
happiest thing in the human world.
Om Mani Padme.
Oh, Mani Padme Hum.